As the tussle on who becomes a leader of the 10th National Assembly continues, there should be issues for consideration in the choice of Nass leaders, with the hope that the mistakes of the past will be avoided. Part of the problem of the past was the inability of all stakeholders to build a consensus around the candidates that eventually emerged, and those scenarios created conflicts of interest with far-reaching implications on putting together better legislation for the interest of the country. It will be recalled that the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) found itself in a messy quagmire in 2015 when the leadership that emerged was at variance with the wishes of the party hierarchy that produced ex-Senate President Bukola Saraki and former Speaker Yakubu Dogara. Nigerians have expressed their opinion on what they expect leaders of the National Assembly to look like or certain attributes they must possess.
Because each and every nook and cranny of this country is represented in the House, and he will lead a harmonious House of that will bring progress to the country. Don't forget, the National Working Committee of the party and the President-elect, they make this decision in order to balance the agitation of this zone.
It is okay. Let them forget about sentiment, let them forget about religion, let them forget about sectionalism, let them focus on Nigeria. That is what they are supposed to do. Let them have the Nigeria in their heart. That is the major thing that is supposed to move this country. Forget about getting money. Money sometimes is not even enough for some people in Nigeria. There's a certain limit of money that we get. You are comfortable, you will be contented.
So, and at this time, this very time we are now, we need people with vision, people with credibility, people that we can believe on them. It's not about party anymore. It's about working, people that will work together, people that will bring new ideas. That is all we need.
Most of the stakeholders who spoke with our correspondent says members of the National Assembly must be allowed to elect their leaders without interference as stipulated by law.
Quality, precedence, genuine precedence per se. So those are the things that we're supposed to be looking at, because there has to be a synergy between the legislative arm and executive arm. So we are not trying to drum our support for a stooge, or I am not saying that I will drum my support for a stooge.
The leadership of the party, they are reversing the zoning they did earlier, because most of the senators or those contestants are saying they will not respect the zoning system, and they will not succumb to any pressure. What they want is they want to go for an election at the floor elections.
Analyzing candidates who have indicated interest in leadership of 10th National Assembly, Nigerians say credibility above any other criteria must be considered so as to regain the confidence of people.
Dr. Abbas Tajuddin, he is a unifier. He has been in the House for a long period of time. He makes friends around, and he will unite the House. Uniting the House is uniting the country, because each and every nook and cranny of this country is represented in the House. As it appears, and as you throw that question to me, it's not a personal opinion, but the opinion of Arewa Forum and its affiliates, which comprises of pressure groups, women groups, student association. The issue at hand is that, especially given by the position of the party as at yesterday evening, there were so many issues that arose out of that submission of the party. And if you look at it also critically, you see that other vying members of the House of Reps were even part of that unanimous endorsement of Betara.
Short of Abdulaziz Yari to be the national President of the Senate, we will not take it. Let them zone it, do it appropriately, and we should zone it to Northwest. That's what we're asking for. He has done it before. He was two-time governor of Biafra State, and also the leader of the governors at one time in this country.
Going forward, some Nigerians want to see gender balance in leadership position of the country.
It is good to have you back. If you're just joining us, this is Firecrackers and we're just about to get started. And I have with me in the studio Ben Abraham, is a legal practitioner and founder of Zarit 58. It's very good to have you here with us today.
It's my pleasure always.
So we will be joined later by Olajumoke Fowo. She will be joining us live from Lagos. She's a legal practitioner and also a member of the All Progressive Congress, APC. Hopefully she'll be able to join us before we round up the segment. And now on to the topic of the day. This issue of selection of leaders for the 10th Assembly has been generating so many controversies. We have people saying that it is for the best interest of the party for them to do a consensus, choose who they feel should be able to lead, and then everyone should go ahead. And then we have some people saying that in a democracy, the lawmakers have to vote and you don't impose leaders. So in a situation like that, what should be the best thing to do? Knowing that in the Electoral Act, well, this one is for whichever seat. We have the direct primaries, indirect primaries, and then we also have the consensus. So is that the same thing that is going to play here?
No, Electoral Act has to do basically with political parties and how their primaries that are carried out, which produce candidates for different positions in the general elections. We're coming to talk about the lawmakers and how their principal officers emerge. That's something that entirely rests on the party, to the extent that that party has produced a majority in the House, as well as the other members of the House, where they are not of the same party. Now, in this assembly, we have, when I talk of the assembly, the National Assembly, you have the Senate, the Red Chamber, you have the House of Representatives, the Green Chamber. You get to see from the results of elections, in this cycle of elections 2023, that's about 7 or 8 parties produced members. You have the APC, the PDP, the Labour Party, the NMPP, the YPP,
SDP,
and SLP, and 1 or 2 others. So you now see that it's not just the APC, but the question is, if the APC is in the majority, which they are, how do they handle it, even as a party? That you have the majority doesn't automatically give you a say at the end of the day if you don't manage that majority successfully. As the saying goes, it's more difficult to manage success than to even achieve it. Now you've won the elections, you have not just at the presidential, but now at the legislative, national legislative arm. The tougher work will be how to harmonize opposing views, different positions of the different members, and then come out with someone who will be acceptable to the majority of the people. Bearing in mind also the members of the House who are not in your party. So it's a very delicate balancing game. As you see now, we already have opposing voices, even from within the APC. If you look at the Senate presidency was zoned to the South-South, the list that was released last week, and the dovetailing was to the person of Senator Akpabio. That is what people believe that the APC is comfortable with.
From this, okay, we will talk about zoning later, but please go on.
That's for the South-South Senate presidency. Then Deputy Senate presidency, zoned to the Northwest, and the person of Senator Jibrin Barau, as who they feel the party hierarchy is comfortable within that position. Then you come to the House of Representatives. Also, zoned to the Northeast, Tajuddin Abbas, is who they feel should fly the flag. Then having Benjamin Kalu as his deputy from the southeast. These are the main positions, the principal. Of course, we have the chief whip, we have the majority leaders, or the minority leader will be from the parties that have the minority and all of that. But having stated this, immediately this list came out, and the fillers also came out. So many other members rose up. Among the Senate, you have the likes of Ojo Zokalo, Osita Ezonazo, Musa, and one or two others who came together and said no. In fact, in their visit to the chairman of the APC, they made known to him that they were not comfortable with how, not just the zoning was done, but how the specific individuals were picked. I also know, we also read that the governor of Ondo State, Governor Akeredolu, didn't find that zoning and particularly the people involved. He said it wasn't the right way to go. Now, you don't bring people, that it should be more credible when you let people come out and tell us, or tell the party why they feel they should handle that position, other than just picking people and putting in those positions. So the Senate, they have that opposition now. And the House of Reps, so there is this group they call the G7. Adodogowa is there, Metara is there, and Wase is there, among others. They have about 7 of them who are also saying no. We cannot let the party dictate for us who. If you zone it to a particular zone, allow the members to come together, do the horse trading involved, and then let the more popular of them, the most popular among them, emerge. So we have this contention going on now. And what do Nigerians, what is in all of this for Nigerians? That's the question we should be looking at. You see, you will understand how things work out when you look back to the 9th Assembly, which will soon round off, the 8th Assembly, and the previous assemblies. And the consensus of most Nigerians is that this 9th Assembly, for example, which is about to round off, has been the worst in terms of rubber stamping whatever the executive came up with. Yes.
But then we do also have some people who say that since the president has to work with people who would be loyal to him, which we could say played out in the 9th Assembly, because we could say hands down that the 9th Assembly was loyal to the president. So since if loyalty is what is going to play out now, so would it not be like then perhaps the APC also chose the leadership on the terms of who will be the most loyal to the president and would not be causing friction when it comes to policy making? Well,
incidentally, that is the Nigerian setting, loyalty to the president. But it should really be loyalty to the federation, to Nigerians who elected you into office to represent them. And nobody says loyalty to the president should be something that is done blindly. And that is why party politics in this part of the world amuses me, or sometimes gets, people thinking. At the end of the day, what is loyalty? That you should do what the party wants you to do, and that you should not embarrass the president. But the president, for example, we saw here, how much is Nigeria owing in external debt now? Between 2019, 2015 and now. What baggage is he leaving behind? All these debts were rubber stamped by the National Assembly. In the clip you just showed before this program started, you saw another request for $800 million, request by the president for the National Assembly to endorse $800 million to be borrowed for the social investment program. What is a social investment program? It's not for today. I already have spoken on it on different fora. But this is the kind of thing that we should interrogate. Do we borrow to fund consumption? Do we borrow to do direct cash transfers to unskilled poor people? And these are the issues. And this is where we expect as Nigerians. If it's a party affair, no problem, do your party affair, rule yourself. But for the fact that Nigerians let you in there for the well-being of the majority of of Nigerians. The most important thing I believe you should do is to look out for the welfare. If the presidency comes up with something, there's nothing wrong in having a committee to harmonize that position.
Okay.
Because you're also answerable to the people that voted.
Okay, all right. Now let us take Olajimoke Anifowoshe's view of this particular subject, because it seems APC coming up with the list of people they want to be elected in office is not sitting well with a lot of people. What do you have to say about that?
Thank you for having me on your program. Personally, I don't think there's been a decision cast in iron in respect of the leadership of the National Assembly. Consultations are still going on, and whatever list has come out, I think is the figment of the media. Why would stakeholders, senators-elect, and the ranking members of the National Assembly go to the national chairman to complain?
It seems there is issue with the network. So although we will come back to her, but moving on with what we are saying, now we are talking about having people in office. Well, they have been elected by the people into office. And would we not say that these people that were elected, they were elected on the basis that the people trust them to represent them well? So out of these people, then the party coming up with, well, according to her, there's still consultations going on, and yes, it is not final.
The opposing views are there.
Yes.
So the national chairman, I also read that he said yes, and we are going to consult widely. We didn't consult widely, and that the president-elect also is being expected to come into the country soon, and also have his own say. So I don't think he's casting an iron. Yes.
Yes, and now let us look at the issue of zoning, because a lot of people, well, one of the things that a lot of people have always been advocating for, let there be zoning, so that there will be balance of each political zone having a taste of power, so to speak. And would you say that with the list we've seen so far from APC's decision, would you say that it has found a way to balance all the geopolitical zone being in power?
Part of the reason for the agitation is what you just raised. Many of the agitators, if I use that word, are not comfortable with the way party offices, not party offices, principal officers have been zoned. That is the number one. Before you talk about the individuals who have been thrown out by the party, which I believe, like we just said, it's not casting an iron. So one, look at this position of the, we have the presidency from Southwest, Vice, Northeast. So the next Senate president now said the South-South. Deputy Senate president, Northwest. The party chairman is already from the North Central. So this somehow has brought some level of balance. But then the next is the Senate, House Speaker.
House of Representatives Speaker.
Now it's also zoned from the list they brought out, which I believe they're also going to think out. It's zoned to the Northwest, Tajuddin Abbas. And that's where also so many are saying the Northeast. Is it because they provided the vice president? They also ought to have a say in that angle. The Southeast is also complaining. Ojo Zakalu and his cohorts are saying no. You can't leave deputy speaker for the Southeast. We've been in the party for quite some time. We have 2 or 3 states in the Southeast as APC states and all of that. So the zoning on its own is also an issue. The Southeast believe the Senate presidency should go to them, not the South-South, considering that the South-South is not so much APC as the Southeast. So you have these agitations here and there. So like I said in the beginning, it's going to be a delicate balancing game. Over the years, this has happened It will also test the party's ability to handle issues, handle men of big ambition and big ego, and then come out with something that will be fairly representative of what Nigerians also want, not just the party, but Nigerians.
Yeah, and if we look at this issue of zoning to the southeast, when they were unveiling the candidates, the one chosen by consensus for the APC in Abuja, Benjamin Kalu was glad that the southeast was not marginalized. Like, it gave the region a sense of inclusion. So would you not say that that, in a way, has already represented the southeast, the south-south, the North Central, like you said earlier, which is the position of the APC chairman, and then the Northwest and the Northeast?
Everybody is entitled to his opinion. So many are glad. If Benjamin Kalu being picked as an individual, you wouldn't want him to ask for more. He will be glad that he is picked from Southeast for the deputy speakership position. But all Joseph Kalu and his party is saying no. They are both from the same state, Abia. So that is every man for himself. Okay, look at the North Central. It's only the chairmanship position in the party that has gone to the North Central. The agitation is coming from there. The party chairman is Abdullahi Adamu. And no other office has been zoned. These principal offices I've mentioned. At the end of the day, you begin to have the chief whip, you begin to have these other things that they feel are lesser in command or in power or in influence in the assembly. What has gone to the North Central apart from that? Don't you see that also calls to question the balancing? Like I said earlier, the Northeast believes Metara should go there, not the Northwest. That is the speakership position. The Northwest is now saying, from what we've seen, the Northwest will have the speakership and the deputy Senate presidents. These two very key positions to the Northwest, because they didn't pick anything in the presidency, president or the vice. So it depends on the angle or the perspective you're looking at it from. You could say it's fairly representative. Some other person will say no, especially those of them who are elected. There are so many agitations going on. Somebody like Joseph Kalu said, no, for the first time I'm going to defy what this party said. Come the day of inauguration, I will spring a surprise on the floor of the House. He said it to the face of the chairman. The chairman said, no, let's calm trade nerves. We're going to consult widely. We're going to carry everybody along. But no one thing, at the end of the day, there is not going to be a particular position that will satisfy everybody. You've never seen that. But what the party can do is to work in such a way that there will be a representation of fairness in all, in all objectivity. That people say, oh, not just like I said, the zoning, but if you are preferring Senator A over B in this position, let us know why. Okay? You came out and said we prefer Akpabio, Senator Akpabio, for the Senate presidency position. Why? That's the question. So you need to balance all this, and at the end of the day, people will say, okay, the members of the party will now kowtow. They will follow you.
But now, let us even move away from the APC temporarily. We also have all opposition parties forming an alliance. Do you feel like this alliance might be so effective that they might be able to key into one or two of these major positions in the National Assembly?
If the APC doesn't get their acts right, the APC don't sit down and do what we are saying, there will be surprises. We saw it in 2015 when, after the inauguration, the National Assembly convoked and immediately elected their principal officers. Saraki immediately became the Senate president, even though in the opposition party. It could be repeated, but then I'm sure APC is ready for all of that, but that is what we'll have to see in the next couple of days. Okay. Around June 6th or so, the National Assembly should get into full swing. The new assembly, which should be the 10th assembly.
Okay, all right. Now let us go back to Olajumoke and Nifowishe. I said hope that the network will be favorable for her to communicate with us now. So as you were saying earlier, you were saying something about the media perhaps being the one that is propagating that this selection by the APC is final and there might not be room for improvement.
The media is the one escalating whatever problems regarding the leadership of the National Assembly the party is facing now. You know, there's too much of a media concentration on the National Assembly leadership, and such concentration is bound to bring people complaining, you know, thinking otherwise about what the party is about to do. Naturally, the party should be interested in who becomes a House of Representatives. The party cannot just leave it to the party, to members to just take a decision. I think there should be, and I don't mean that members should be taken for granted. There should be a kind of relationship where the two will come together, the senators elect of APC as well as the leadership of the party, where a decision will be taken. I personally do not think we should make it a media show, because this media show has brought a lot of bad blood, and is causing a lot of disaffection amongst senators elect, particularly the ranking members of the two houses of the Senate as well as the House of Representatives. For me, I think the party should have a say in who becomes the Senate president, so that we can have a smooth running government when the president-elect is sworn in as the president of Nigeria. We cannot just allow just anybody to become the Senate president or the Speaker of the House of Representatives. There must be somebody that has been tested, some, you know, ranking members who have devoted their time to the success of the party in their different senatorial districts, as well as in their different constituencies, and not just people playing double with the party. When a particular aspirant scored so much, you know, so many votes for himself, and when it came to the presidential, the president-elect got very low votes. I think all these things have to be taken into consideration. You don't dilly-dally. You just have to be straight with the party.